How are you doing? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world options training program. Going to ask you when you come into the video, could you like, share it out, send it to somebody else you think they can get value from it. And what we're going to go into is Market Mondays for 7/19/2021. And the reason why we do Market Mondays is to give you a really quick and concise breakdown of the market. Give you a basic understanding of what's going on, give you maybe something to look forward to as we go into the opening week by talking about Monday's activity, some of the things that are going on. And the reason why we do this particular show is because we want you to understand the power of the markets, how they can be used to get you what you want in life. And we're going to kind of go into that later on in this particular topic. And do it in a very, very common tongue where you don't feel like you got to be like those people on CNBC with suits on. You got to have a finance degree. You got to have a background in economics on a PhD level. You don't need any of that to be successful in the markets, because some of the most successful people in these markets don't have any of those particular type of backgrounds. The markets are an applied space. They're not really a theoretical space. Let's go ahead and get into it. So today, the Dow was down around 2.1%, S&P down around 1.6%, NASDAQ down around 1.1%. 10-year treasury at about 1.2%. We're going to look up, and that 10-year treasury is going to be flat at around 1.0, which is going to be very, very interesting. A lot of people buying bonds right now. Sell-off is caused by market topping or the Delta variant. So the question we want to ask ourselves is this sell-off caused by just the market kind of topping out, where people are just taking profit and they're using the Delta variant as an excuse? Or are people really worried about this Delta variant being a thing, and as a result, they kind of trying to take some of the risk off out of their position? So we want to kind of ask ourselves that question. Are we going to get any kind of continuation going on to the month? Because this month historically for the S&P is very bullish. So we want to kind of try to figure out how the rest of the week is going to unfold. Let's talk about some jump outs. So these are going to be some of the stocks that did really well today or did not do that well. I'll give you some context. Saw this last night when I was doing some reading. SPX Flow, they kind of make like automated equipment in different type of areas, but a lot of it in like food processing, but also in a lot of different areas. They had a buyout attempt at, I want to say, around $80 something a share. And this particular company, their board, I think, refused to buy out. So I saw this last night. I didn't think it was going to pop like this, but on open, as we see, it gapped up really, really hard, right? They refused to buy out, though, which is interesting because I guess people are assuming that they're going to come back with another bid that's going to be higher than the 85. So they want to try to get into position. I also think a lot of times because people missed out on that stamps deal. Now that they hear about this deal, everybody's running over there. This was a stock that was very, very thinly traded, right? But even then, a lot of people, got a lot of volume today. I think it was over 1 million. So we want to continue to observe this, because if they do get another buyout attempt, they will probably have to go higher than, I think it was 82 or either 85. And so then if you got in, at the $70 price point and they do maybe a buyout at 95 or 100, and they feel like it's worth that, then you're going to be in a really, really good position. Let's look at Carnival Cruise Lines, right? CCL, they sold off today because they're having some issues between the state of Florida, the CDC, and these particular cruise lines. I think the cruise line stated that they wanted people to show proof of vaccination before they actually get on the cruise. I think the state of Florida said that they're not going to allow that from cruise line operators in their state. And then I think a judge somewhere said that the CDC can do that. I don't know. It's starting to get really complicated and contentious. But as a result of that, right, and people starting to believe that, one, we have the Delta variant. We also have this issue can maybe impact our operations because of the amount of the businesses that the cruise lines do in the state of Florida, right? I think a lot of people were bearish on them today. It took Carnival Cruise Lines a relatively fairly decent amount of time to get them back into the $20 range. And so they're starting to come right back down. We believe once they get this sorted out, they're going to shoot back up. But these are the kind of things that people are worried about. We see the same thing with Norwegian. So all the cruise lines pretty much were down today. So we see Norwegian gapping down today, falling all the way down to almost 21.25, and it's selling around 21.87 at a close, being up, a few cents in the aftermarket. But, those are normally low volume sell-offs or low volume buy-ins. Same issue operating out of the state of Florida. People worried about the cruise line industry because of this particular issue with the vaccines, this variant. So because there's so much uncertainty in that area, a lot of people are just kind of trying to de-risk. And now we're going to go into the topic of the day, right? We're going to talk about how to become successful. Hopefully I spelled that right, in the markets. And what we're going to talk about is that, what do you want to start really considering that you need to do to become successful in the markets? Now, I'm not an educator by trade or by training. I'm not a financial advisor by trade or by trading. But I'm gonna just tell you what has worked for me and what I think can work for people, and what has also worked for people that have taken my particular course and have become successful. So let me tell you a story. So I was on a live stream yesterday. I'm gonna try to make this real short because we're not trying to have a long class. And somebody reached out to me through the little chat and was like, well, I want you to set up your Patreon. If you could put, this type of content on your Patreon, I would pay you for it. And I asked them, well, what will you pay me for the content? And they couldn't answer that. So my question to that person, I'm not trying to single this person out, but what I'm trying to get people to understand is psychologically, right? If you say you want something, it's because you want a result from that. Nobody ever wants the thing. So one of the most important things that you can learn in business is people do not care about things, right? They don't. Okay. If things were important, you would not go into a grocery store and see multiple variation of a thing. So you go down the bread aisle, you see different types of bread. That means that bread as an item is not that important. Why? Because we got so much bread. So bread no longer becomes important, right? Because we have so much and you have so much differentiation amongst bread. Well, bread as a single item is no longer important. Same thing if you go down to the toothpaste aisle. Toothpaste is not important. Why? Because we have so much differentiation or variation in toothpaste. So toothpaste as a thing is not that important. People are not into things. They're into what they think the result of that thing will be. Right? Many times we have a difficulty communicating what the result of we want something to be. Now we know it internally. We do. That's why we're acting. But we have a difficulty communicating it. And a lot of times it's because we don't want to really be honest with what our real desires are. Right? One of the most important things you can do is be real with yourself about what you really want. Right? Because that's going to allow you to really do what you want to do in this world so you can get what you want, as opposed to being unfulfilled because you never really did what you wanted to do. So many of us can't communicate that. So when I asked the guy, you say you want me to make this type of content, you telling me you'll pay for it, but you can't tell me what you want to pay for it. So you should be able to tell me, David, if you make this kind of content, it's worth this to me. Now we have a point to where we can negotiate on. Right? Because you're asking me to do something for you, but you can't attach a price tag to it. A lot of times people do this because they really don't want to be responsible. See, because if he says, David, if you make this type of content and I make it, now he's responsible because I made the content. So what they can do is say, David, well, what are you willing to charge for this type of content? Because what I want to do is disqualify myself with your price point. So I ask you, because I don't really want to do it, but I want to say, man, if he just would give it to me at this price, I would do it. Right. But the price is going to be so low, it wouldn't be worth me doing it. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So these are the kind of psychological games we play with ourselves because we really are scared to really go after what we really say we really want. And then understand that what value do we put on that? So we're talking about the markets. OK, so let me ask you a question. Let's say hypothetically, you want to be successful in the markets because you want to spend more time with your family. Right. So you want to be successful. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, you first have to be able to be successful at the markets at a way in which you can create enough income to where you don't have to work outside of the house. OK, so that's what you have to do to get to what you want. I got to better figure out how to utilize the markets to create enough income. Right. To where I don't have to leave my house to go make my money. Right. So but why do I want to do that? Because I want to spend time with my family. Right. So now the question is, what is that worth to you from a time standpoint? So I'm going to ask that question again. For you to get the result that you say you want from a time standpoint, what is that worth to you? And if you can't answer that question, then you want to ask yourself, is that really what you really want? Because it should be easier for you to determine what you're willing to give. So let me give an example. A lot of people want to go to college. Most people don't go to college because they want to get an education. They go to college for a lot of different reasons. Right. So because people want to go to college, they're willing to take out a loan to go to college to get what they want from going to college. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? That's why. And they want that so bad, even though the price of college goes up, there's a lot there's not a lot of price sensitivity on the college tuition. College goes up. People still take the money out to go to college because what they think they want from college or what they believe they desire from college. Right. The actual result, they're willing to pay it. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So that's why I know when a person can't tell me what they're willing to pay, they're not being honest, because these colleges are doing ridiculous numbers and they're charging way more money than any of these people that got online courses are charging. They're not even close to what a college cost. Not even close. I was going to school in the early 2000s paying $800 a class, right? So if I'm taking a full load of 4 or 5 classes, that's how much I'm paying per semester. So this was in the early 2000s. I can only imagine what college costs now, especially a big state university or any one of these, these really top tier private schools. So that's what you have to understand, is that if you want to be successful in the markets, you don't want to be successful in the markets because you just want to be successful in the markets. You want a result from being successful in the markets. So based on what you believe that result is worth to you, what you believe is worth to you, what are you willing to give up? And if you're not willing to give up enough, then the question is, do you really want that result? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So because let me ask you an example. If you go to the ER and you got a major issue, right? And they say, well, we got to have surgery. You say, well, when are you going to have the surgery? Say, we don't know. Because, that's a lot. We don't know if we want to do that right now. Well, you would get the impression that they just don't want to do surgery on you, because you got to have surgery in the ER. Why are they dragging their feet? Because they really don't want to do it. Because your attitude is, why are y'all hesitating to do what needs to be done to be successful? So this is why I try to tell people, is that a lot of people tell on themselves psychologically, right? They tell on themselves psychologically. They're not even aware that they're doing it. And then because there's so many people doing it at the same time, they don't really stand out, but everybody's doing the same thing. So if you decide that I want to get something out of the market, whatever it is, because you want a specific result that you think is going to be a byproduct of that result out of the market. So nobody really wants the thing. They want the thing that comes as a result of getting that thing. Okay. So nobody really wants a luxury car. They want status of a luxury car. Well, why do they want status of a luxury car? Because they want to feel important. Why do they want to feel important? Because they think by feeling important, it's going to bring about another emotion. So you just keep going down and down and down until you actually get to what is a core emotion. And this, we talking about human beings. They got 4 or 5 core emotions that they're trying to get to. So that's what's driving all human behavior. That's something I teach in my dog persuasion classes. So it's never that thing. Nobody cares about a luxury car, right? People was doing the same behavior that drives luxury car buys was driving behavior 300 years ago when there were no luxury cars. It's the same behavior. It's the same desire for status. So how do you become successful in the markets? You figure out, what do you want as a result of being successful in the markets? What do you want? Right? What is that thing that you actually want? You don't really want to be successful in the markets. What is that thing that you want? Okay, cool. Now let's take money off the table. Let's talk about time. How much time are you willing to put in to get that? And based on how much time you're willing to put in to get that is really how much you value what you say you want. Because you can always go make you some more money, but you can never get more time back. So, for example, somebody sent me some information about something stock related. I read it. And I said, you know what? I got to do a lot more research on this because I don't totally completely understand the scenario. Right? Because I don't like people to feed me plays. I got to understand what's going on, because the way I learned the options market is that if I didn't understand the context of the options play, I wouldn't play it. And I was getting plays from somebody I knew that understood the markets, but I didn't care. Because if I didn't understand the context of the play, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't play it just because they said play it, because that to me was not a reason to do it. I was trying to learn and understand it. So if I didn't understand the play, I wouldn't do it. So I have that same perception or attitude about everything. It doesn't matter what somebody else tells me. If I don't understand what's going on around it, I won't play it. Right? I may play it, but I definitely won't play it. And then I may research and still not play it, but at least I kind of understand what's going on. It's not a decent situation because I think that person knows what they're talking about and they said it. That doesn't mean it's true. In mathematics, you learn that just because something is stated, don't make it true. Right? There has to be a reason why it's true, not just because it's stated, no matter how much of an expert that person presents themselves as. Okay? So if you say you want a result out of the market, right? How much is that worth to you from a time standpoint? Let's take money off the table because I know we got issues with that. From a time standpoint, how much is that worth to you? So if I want to get 10 grand out of the markets over the next quarter, what is that worth to me? And from a time standpoint, how much time am I willing to go to pursue that particular goal? Am I willing to take other things off the table from a time standpoint? Don't necessarily mean your family. Don't mean your kids. I mean like other entertainment things that you may be doing. Right? Because you may understand that if I can get good at this, it'll free me up to do those things even more. I just got to figure out how to get good at this. So it's like a person saying, hey, you know what? I got to reskill myself. Let me work and come home and take this class. And for the next year, all I'm gonna do is work and take this class. So all the entertainment and all that other stuff gonna get cut by the wayside. But in reality, it's a blessing to you because you weren't going nowhere with those people anyway. You needed to change who you was to change your environment, right? So a lot of times people talk about changing the people, or you get all these affirmations, especially from these people on Instagram. It's interesting that a lot of these chicks is Instagram models plus philosophers, right? All this, you need to change the people around you, and when you start putting yourself first, yada yada yada, you don't have to worry about the people around you. Once you change who you are, it's going to change the people around you, because why would you be around those people if you don't have nothing in common with those folks? So if you say, you know what, I'm going to learn the markets, and you spend the next year focusing on whatever you got to do to make money plus the markets, you'll find that you'll start to change the people around you, because the people that you're dealing with, y'all not going to have nothing to talk about. And if you take some effort to seek out people that also understand the markets, you'll, develop new peer groups, because you got a totally different conversation, because the majority of the country can't talk about the markets. They have no idea what they're even talking about. You understand me? So if you have to spend a year to learn the markets to get what you want, but then now you're able to get what you want and then get the result, then that's how you become successful, right? Then we can add the money in later, because we know that's the biggest impediment for us, because a lot of us, we think money is more important than the time, when in reality, they make money every day. They don't make any more time. When you out of time, you out. But we have to get psychologically conditioned to get to that understanding, because we have been raised in a society to make us think that money is more important than time, even though they can make money. Can't make you any more time. Nobody can. You understand me? So we'll deal with the money part later, because I know it's going to take a lot to get us to that particular point. So let's deal with the time first. How much time are you willing to put in to become successful? So even if you have an issue where, you know what, I was trading, but my financial situation changed. Well, I can't trade right now. I get it. Life is real. But does that mean that you stop studying? Does it mean that? So does it mean that you stop studying because the information is available to you? So does it mean that you stop studying? Does it mean you stop paper trading? Does it mean you start trying to analyze the market? Just because you may not have the money right now, do you lose your enthusiasm? Because it's not about right now. It's about you trying to get a result out of the market so you can get to where you want to go. The question is, how bad do you really want to be there? So it's not about me doing anything. Not about me jumping on the internet, doing a live stream. It's not about me doing anything. Give you the framework, give you the curriculum, and then now what are you going to do? So the people that are very successful in my program are the people that are very self-motivated to be successful, because that's what I really attract as success stories, because that's how I got here. Didn't nobody give me this success. I went and got it. But that's how I got all my success. And one of the things that I realized is that if you can get success doing the wrong thing, all you got to do is do the right thing with that same kind of enthusiasm and intensity, and you can get the right thing. It's just all in what you're focused and concentrating on. So that was a big revelation for me. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So I was 100% confident that I can get success in this area, because I had already had success in other areas, even though I may not have been doing the right thing. You understand me? I had success in educating people in other areas, even though I may not have been educating them in the right way about the right thing. I may not have been teaching them the right type of stuff. So I was 100% confident that I could be successful, but what I put the time in. So when I was taking that other person's options plays, I woke up every day at 7 o'clock in the morning, regardless of what I did the night before, right? Because I needed to wake up early in the morning before the market opened so I could get these particular plays and understand them from a contextual standpoint, what I needed to do to be successful. And like I said before, is if I didn't understand the play, I didn't play it. There were days I woke up, looked at the plays, didn't like it, and didn't play anything. I didn't go back to sleep. I was just up. I woke up every morning. So what did that mean I had to do? Couldn't drink alcohol because I had to wake up. Couldn't stay out late because I had to wake up. Right? Couldn't be up all night doing stuff. Why? Because I got to wake up early. Because I knew where I was going. So if you couldn't function on that program that I had, then you didn't need to be around me. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Because I'm on a program. So if you can't program with me, I don't need you around me, because I know what I was doing before it didn't get me what I wanted. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So a lot of times in life, we got to be really honest with ourselves and ask ourselves, really, what do we really, really want? And I don't down nobody behind what they want. I work out at a park. It's some people that live at that park. If that's what they want to do, I'm happy for them. They're not breaking any laws. They just live at the park. That's what they want to do. I'm happy for them. That's how they want to live their life. So we got to be really honest about what we want. It don't mean that you're not going to have trials and tribulations. It don't mean you're not going to have challenges. Don't mean you're not going to have setbacks. That's all part of your journey of getting the way you want. Really study the hero's journey and understand, as you being a hero in your story, you're going to deal with some things to get the way you want. Right. It may not all be, 1, 2, 3. But I built something to attract people that had the same mentality as me, because I know it would create the best position for them to be successful. I didn't want a bunch of people where if I don't say do something, they don't know what to do. That's not how I set this up. But everybody that's been successful in this program, what do? They apply themselves on a consistent basis. Right? This was not where I'm this person on top of a hill and I give y'all the revelation of the word of the day. And then now y'all got y'all revelation of the word of the day and y'all come back next week like it's church. We're not doing that here. Right? That's not what we're doing. It's to give you a framework, give you a template of what you need to do to be successful, give you some best practices. And then you go and you take those and you put the time in and you continue to implement and iterate it in your own laboratory. Right? And you figure out what's my own way of making this work based on what I do. Right? And you put the time in. We're going to talk about that time again. And then you become successful. And we'll talk about the money later, because I know for a lot of us, that's a very complex conversation for us, because we still think money is more important than time. So the way you become successful in the markets, put the time in, take it serious. And if you don't want to put the time in, because of the way human emotion works, there's multiple ways to get what you want out of this world emotionally. It don't have to be through the markets. Because like I said, is that you may say, I want to become successful in the markets because I want to spend more time with my family. But really what you want is an emotion. You want emotion. But there's more than one way a lot of times to get that emotion. So what most people will do is when they realize I'm trying to get a particular emotion out of this, but it's not coming at the speed it's not coming at the speed that I want it. Well, what else can I do to get that emotion? So that's why you see people jumping around to different stuff, because they've decided I want to get that emotion from doing something else. I don't want to get that emotion from doing this because it's going to be too much work to get there. So that's why you see people jumping around. They always, every 6 months they're doing something different, because it's not about the thing. They're just trying to get that emotion. Right. So because I understand that for what we do here, somebody may try it and be like, well, no, it's not going the way I want it to go, and go do something different. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I've done that in certain situations. It's just I made my mind up that I was going to be successful at this. Right. Because one of the ways in which I was successful is making my mind up I was going to be successful at something and just sticking to it. So that's pretty much going to be the Market Mondays for today. Didn't want to keep you too long. Like I said before, we're not trying to talk you to death, because it's really not about that. Get into the market, study, do what you got to do. You can be successful. These markets are not above your head. These people are not smarter than you. It's really not like that. I know some of these people, they're really not that smart. I'm not that smart. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm a guy that took me 6 years to get a bachelor's degree. OK, so I wasn't head of the class. But then between me and other people, I didn't quit over 6 years. I just kept coming at them. I'm like Joe Frazier. If I can come up out that chair, we going to fight. That's what it come down to. So it's David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. The links to the highest paid part-time job on the road options training course is in the particular description. Like I said before, and I'm going to keep saying this, everybody that got it on a discount, the money is out of the way. So now all you got to do is put the work in. So I'm going to be looking at you to see whether or not you put the work in. OK, hit me up. If you got any questions, reach out to me. Talk to you later.